I've never been part of an air raid drill. The day after wasn't my primetime special. I only know the USSR was a thing because my Florida elementary school didn't have the budget for new maps for a few years after the Soviet Union's collapse. I had nightmares about falling into sinkholes, but not about nuclear-tipped missiles streaking through the sky. In fact, I didn't think about nuclear weapons much until, many years after those nightmares stopped, I moved out west. Here, in the Rocky Mountain region, the bombs, or at least their legacy, were a little harder to ignore. I initially lived a short drive from Rocky Flats, a plant that once produced the cores of nuclear weapons. Down the interstate from there is Cheyenne Mountain, a nuclear command center built beneath thousands of feet of granite, meant to withstand thermonuclear blasts so the people inside could launch missiles even if the rest of us died. This part of the country is scarred by old uranium mines and mills. Missile silos and alert centers, current and former, carve out the earth. This region is also home to major nuclear research and production facilities, specifically Sandia and Los Alamos National Laboratories. Weapons labs. When I moved here, I knew of the facility's existence, but not much about what happened behind their extremely closed gates. Being a journalist who writes about science, though, I was able to simply ask if I could drop by. On my first trips to both labs, I spoke to scientists who constructed particle accelerators, simulated the start of the universe, made next-generation supercomputers run, and replicated supernovae, among other far-out topics. It was all interesting, sure, but I knew none of this research was the reason these labs existed, or even the full story about these particular scientists' specialties. The national labs run by the Department of Energy's National Nuclear Security Administration, NNSA, Sandia and Los Alamos, as well as Lawrence Livermore in California, like to discuss the easily palatable, press-releasable science their employees do. For one, it's not classified. For two, it doesn't make people mad. But the scientific forces animating their research also show up in nuclear weapons. They are the lab's raison d'etre, and the majority of their budgets go to that sort of stuff, which they call mission work, research on and maintenance of nuclear weapons and national security. Yet that work is kept more under wraps, a tendency that has kind of matched public awareness of nuclear weapons, which receded after the Cold War. But the United States is currently in the middle of a giant nuclear modernization program, reinvesting in its atomic infrastructure like it hasn't in decades. And as tensions have risen globally, particularly with Russia's invasion of Ukraine, nuclear weapons' salience to the modern world is seemingly here to stay. As such, the quiet parts deserve to be discussed out loud.